Right, we're going to have a crack at doing a question and answers video. I'm really sorry if it's windy. We've been holding off to film this because it's just been too windy to do it, but we're going to have a crack now. What do you got?
Alright, so where are the maps from? We've got the one on the car, which is a decal. It was purchased on eBay. We can put a link in the description.
About 90 bucks, wasn't it?
Yeah, about $90. It's a vinyl adhesive sticker. The one that you see at the start of our videos is a laminated HEMA map, and it could be purchased on HEMA's online store, I think, or news agencies or map stores. The hooks that you use on the back of the car.
Oh yeah, so they're Clevis tow hooks. I got them off eBay. There's two different sizes. They're about 60 odd bucks. They are rated just heaps quicker for hooking up the chains, especially when we're setting up for one night and we want to unhitch the car and the trailer.
The bin bags, they are from a bloke called Nathan. His Instagram page, I think he's only on Instagram. It is PM Canvas Products. He's based in Perth, but he may be able to ship them Australia-wide. I'm not too sure. They're really good quality. They're very large. We can fit an entire bag of rubbish in them. We have two. We did have them both on the back of the van. We've moved one of them to the back of the car, and we now use that as our bin because our Austrail pop-up bin split. Yeah, very good. Highly recommend. So
for about 200 bucks, you get you tell him what size wheel you've got. You get the spare wheel cover, and then you get the removable bin as well, canvas bin, and a couple of pockets on either side. Yeah, really, really good quality. And like Tiff said, bigger than anything else on the market.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
What do we eat for lunch and dinner? The same thing that we probably eat for lunch and dinner at home. We don't do things too differently. We don't eat any of that dehydrated camp food or anything that you buy like that. We eat a lot of wraps, as we've covered off before, because it's easier to store than bread.
Long shelf life. They pack flat. They'll sit nicely on the top of the fridge on top of everything else. They can't get crushed and squashed like bread. And you can have wraps for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, can't you? You can put anything in them, leftovers in them.
So we normally have wrap for lunch. For dinner, we normally eat stuff as per we do at home. Normally stuff that Chloe will eat too. So we probably do a lot of curries, spaghetti, apricot chicken, pastas,
meat and veg,
just normal stuff.
Yeah. We'll always cook like bigger set of meals and then freeze them so we can have leftovers for the next couple of days.
Yep. Where do we store pots, pans, and crockery? In the drawer. But I mean, we probably have more than we need of this stuff.
Well, we've got the minimum for living out of it.
Yeah. Everything that we use is in there: bowls, plates, dinner plates, and then saucepans.
So this was supposed to be your food storage, your pantry.
Our saucepan. We literally only have this saucepan, which goes together.
Is this your first time? You know, it's strange. You don't seem so familiar around the kitchen.
And then one of these big pots. So that's all we have for cooking. How do we get water when free camping? We use Wikicamps. So on Wikicamps you can see a little water symbol, and that will tell you where you can get free water. So a lot of towns will offer water for free, and you can just fill up your van there. Are there many places you can take dogs when travelling? There definitely is, and we have come across lots of people with dogs. On a personal level, we probably wouldn't take a dog.
If you can avoid it.
Yeah, if you can avoid it. We don't currently have a dog, so it was an easy choice for us. But a lot of national parks, obviously, you're not allowed dogs, so you either have to not go there altogether or get someone to babysit your dog for you, really.
Yeah.
Funding our trip. So we are both currently still employed. Cam's on long service leave. I had...
We're lifestyle hustlers. If you want to learn how to be financially free, we'll teach you how. Just subscribe.
So Cam's on long service leave, and that goes all the way through until we're back, or he goes back in February. I had about
3 months.
Maybe about 10 weeks of annual leave. I've used all of that up now, and I'm now just on leave without pay until I go back. So that has funded a lot of our trip. We're still on a normal sort of wage, and we have been. We do have some savings.
The funny thing is, we've actually been spending, even though we're spending like $1,200 a week on accommodation, food, fuel, etc. We're actually saving more money than normal, because I would normally blow that much on crap. I don't have a drug addiction or anything. I just spend a lot of money on crap.
Yeah, we're still paying our mortgage, but we have gone down. We used to pay extra. Now we've gone down to our minimum repayment. So that's helping. Our bills.
You could even go lower though. You could do just interest only, which we didn't do.
Bills are all quite cheap because we're not currently at home.
So you only pay the rates portion, don't you, of water and
yeah. So our water, we don't have anyone renting our house at the moment. We've just got family taking care of it. So our water bill's really cheap. We've got solar electricity, so we're actually getting a credit on our electricity bill, and obviously no gas. So yeah, that's been cheap for us.
But yeah, it's working out at about $1,200 a week. It's costing us just to be on the road, and then we also have to factor in those bills, mortgage repayments, etc.
Yeah. What sort of communication do we use?
So UHF, I've spoken about that before. I've got the Oricom DTX 4200. I think having UHF is essential, even if you're just sticking to the blacktop. It's really good to be able to navigate your way around road trains and stuff like that, or allow them to pass you if you're going slower. You can communicate with pilots when they're bringing heavy loads towards you and they need to tell you to get off the road. They'll tell you how wide they are and whether you need to be off the road and pulled up somewhere, or if you can fit past.
Mobile phones, we both have a plan each. We switched from Telstra to Boost before we left. Boost is the only third-party provider that have access to the full Telstra network. So you'll get the exact same service as you would with Telstra, but it's about half the price. So the Boost plans have been really, really good.
Yeah, it's a different setup. It's actually prepaid. You get a $300 SIM card with 240 gig of data, and it lasts for 12 months.
Yeah,
but it does work out much cheaper.
And so far, that data has been enough for both of us. You uploading YouTube videos, everything.
Watching Netflix, Chloe watching YouTube, and all the rest of the junk.
So we don't.
Internet, yeah.
So we don't have one of those internal RV Wi-Fi things.
No, don't know anything about it.
Don't really know much about them. Sat phones. We did buy a second-hand sat phone before we left on eBay. It was practically brand new. It's an Iridium.
So we have to pay for a plan for that
Iridium
as well.
9555. We do have a plan for that. It's $50 a month. So with the sat phone, no, you don't need it, and we have had reception most of the places we've been. A lot of people buy those. What are they called? EPIRBs?
Yeah, Spot is one of the brands.
Yeah, which are good, but they'll only help if you're in an emergency situation. So if you were broken down and you needed to call for a tow truck or your insurance company, you obviously couldn't use that, and you would need a sat phone for that. So for peace of mind, it's worth having. We'll make our money back when we sell it.
It's insurance. We'd get it again.
Yeah.
It's like insurance. We're not going to use that on this trip, but we still wouldn't be without it. If we roll the car and or Chloe gets bitten by a snake or something, and we've got no cell reception, I can turn that thing on in 30 seconds. I can be connected with someone that can bring me help. And then on that note, people have asked about the Selfie Go. So what this is, it's a mobile phone signal amplifier. So these are the only ones that are legal. Telstra actually sell this thing. Basically, there's an antenna on my roof that picks up external cell signal. This thing boosts it and then redistributes it through this little antenna here, so we get boosted cell signal. These are about $1,000, and it doesn't work everywhere. It's only going to work when you've got, like, say you've got one bar of really sketchy signal on your phone, then this thing works. So it extends your signal out of town. Yeah, so in our whole trip, it's probably come in handy maybe once or twice so far. In like over 100 nights. Yeah, so probably not. You probably don't need it. It's probably not something, I'll keep it and put it in the next Canopy build, but if it broke or something, I don't think I'd buy another one. You certainly don't want to, if you're thinking about getting a satellite phone or a Selfie Go, then they don't, one does not replace the other. They're two separate functions. Phone mounts. Spoken about them before. They're the Scosh mount. They're magnetic.
We just got them on eBay. Just
I
paid.
think I actually got them from Auto Pro or something.
Oh, Auto Pro, there you go. Just any auto store. I think you can also get them on eBay.
Yeah.
It's just it's a magnet. We have it on there. We have it on our case, so we haven't actually put it on the phone. You can buy these online. You can get extra ones if you need them.
They're just like those $1 ones off eBay.
Yeah, and then that's what the mount actually looks like. Cam's actually screwed them on, which probably makes it a fair bit sturdier. Oh, so what drone and camera equipment do you use?
Oh yeah, so I have done a separate video on that. I'll put a link in the description on all our camera gear. But basically, all the videography stuff is done on the GoPro Hero 8s. We do a little bit on Tiff's camera.
Sony A
6400.
6400 maybe?
So that'll do some of the stills and some of the video, but it's got no image stabilization, so not a lot of video. Do a bit of video on Tiff's iPhone 11. That actually takes quite a good video. But yeah, mainly the GoPro. The drone is a DJI Mavic Air. It's probably the sweet spot for price versus features. It's been superseded now by the DJI Mavic Air 2, which I'll probably upgrade to soon, so I'll probably stick one up for sale shortly. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend that.
How safe or easy is it to travel Australia if you have no experience?
Oh, easy. We've met people that would have done it that have absolutely no mechanical experience whatsoever.
Yeah, so we met a family on the road that decided, 6 weeks before they left, that they wanted to travel Australia. They didn't have a caravan, they didn't have
Never towed one before.
They didn't have a full drive, so they went out and bought both. And they've just learned as they've gone along. They've been on the road for nearly a year and they're loving it.
Yep,
So
they're killing it. They've had no dramas. Yeah, the good thing about like Australian spirit is, if you get to a caravan park and you're struggling to back the thing in, someone will probably offer to back it in for you. If you're struggling to set something up, people want to come help you. Oh, and safety, man. People always go on about the safety.
Yeah.
I have never had a negative experience, safety-wise, in like 15 years of camping. No, longer, like 20 years of camping. I've never had a negative experience.
I mean, sometimes you get put next to people that are noisy or
a bit rowdy or whatever.
Drinking all night, but nothing ever violent or anything that we've been concerned about. And
you've got to be sensible about where you leave your valuables and stuff, but exactly the same as you would at home or in the city or anywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's just as safe as your normal day-to-day life, I reckon.
Do you belong to a full drive club?
I don't. Now, if you're a newbie and you've got no full driving experience, then I'd definitely go for it. Or if you enjoy going out with other people and you want to meet new people, then yeah, definitely. I've got a lot of mates that are into full driving, and I've been doing it since before I had a license, so I've never really had a need to. But there's heaps of good clubs out there.
Yep. Do you do Tagalong Tours?
No, I'd really like to. It might be something that I look at in the future, but I don't have any firm plans.
Did you guys have a rough weekly budget before you left home, and how hard is it to stick to? No, we didn't have a budget. We don't have a figure. We probably spend more than we should, but
we're not doing it cheap. We don't have to work to a budget, so we're not doing it cheap. We're just spending money when we want to. We've got the savings if we need it, and like Tiff said before, we've still got income coming in. So
and so far we've not had to use any of our savings.
Yeah, but there are people that do it on pensions and stuff like that, or retirees with no income coming in. If you're moving at a slower speed, so you don't have to have as much fuel, and you're doing a lot of free camping, you can do it really cheap, I reckon.
Yeah. Similar to the last question, should a lack of handyman experience put a newbie off?
I don't think so. No. I have no. I mean, like, mechanics would laugh watching some of the stuff I do, I'm sure, and auto sparkies and that. I have no mechanical training or auto electrical training or anything like that. I've picked up everything that I know just out of necessity. Playing with full drives before I could afford to pay someone else to fix them, you'd have to learn. So, get yourself a Gregory's manual, have a look at some YouTube videos. If something breaks, give it a crack, fix it yourself, and you'll learn along the way.
Yeah. Who do you watch on YouTube? I don't watch anything on YouTube, never have, probably never will.
Yeah, you're not into it?
I'm just not into it.
Oh, you watch a little bit of Trip in a Van?
Trip in a Van, yeah. If Cam's watching Trip in a Van, I normally will tune into that because I'm more so interested in the family and the, travelling with a family. But, yeah, I don't watch any YouTube. What do you watch?
I love YouTube. That's why I started YouTubing myself. I got a shocking memory, so I've got to refer to my subscriptions. But yeah, big channels, Trip in a Van, Ronnie Dahl, Young Bloods, love that. Smaller local sort of stuff, WA Camping Adventures, Gavin Gillett, Great Off-Road Adventures, Overland Travellers, Sparky's on the Loose, Mr. Buckaroony in Far North Queensland, yeah. I love Sick Puppy 4x4 Adventures, they're funny. Oz Solo, he's really good, Graham Cahill.
What would we have packed and not packed? What we would have packed the Weber.
Yeah. Do you know what? As much as I love that Travel Buddy oven, and you've seen me using it a lot, I probably would have rather bring the Weber and not take the Travel Buddy, just because the Weber, you can bake anything you can in the Weber that you can in the Travel Buddy, but it's just quicker. Like I could do a roast in an hour and a half instead of 4 or 5 hours, and it doesn't use power. Like if we're somewhere for 4 or 5 days and it's overcast like it is at the moment, I don't want to be running the Travel Buddy without running the car.
Is that the only thing we missed?
Tinny, 100% tinny.
Yeah.
I wish I brought a rooftop tinny, or at least a kayak.
What we didn't need to pack.
Heaps of little things, eh?
Yeah, lots of little things. We offloaded a few things when we met up with my parents in Exmouth. A lot of things that we bought for Chloe we haven't needed. A lot of toys she hasn't played with. That couch. She hasn't.
Those plush kids' couches that fold out into a bed.
We bought her scooter and her bike. She hasn't really used either.
No. We don't regret not taking our bikes either.
No.
I thought we might, but we wouldn't have used them that much, and they would have got absolutely destroyed from the corrugations and the dirt. The red dirt just smashes everything. You got that blue bloody
the blue
fold out sun lounge thing that just folds into the most awkward shape, and I just can't fit the thing anywhere.
What else?
We offloaded a spare tyre.
Yeah.
I had 2 spares for the van and 2 spares for the car. I got rid of one of the spares for the van. Which has been okay so far, but I might eat my words later.
One mod you regret doing to either the car or the van?
The van, I don't think anything. I think all the mods have been good. The car, there's quite a few things probably. I'll redesign that car. What's happened was we weren't planning to take the caravan before this trip. We were planning to take the forward fold camper. So the car was kind of set up for that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'll redesign that canopy and I'll strip a lot of weight off that car before we do another big trip. I definitely won't run another Chinese import canopy. That canopy is absolutely fallen apart and it's just a constant pain in the ass. So that's probably one of the major things I regret doing.
How bad are the corrugations?
Not that bad.
Yeah, I guess it depends where you're going. I mean, you can avoid corrugations altogether if you want to.
And it's subjective. Depends what you're used to. We do a lot of full driving and off-road stuff. So corrugations, as long as you let your tyres down and you've got decent suspension and you drive to conditions, they're no drama at all. They're hard on your gear, but build your rig so it can handle it.
Average consumption of bush chooks per day?
No one's really interested in that.
Go on.
No, I don't want to.
Let's just say he probably drinks more than he should.
Definitely.
But he makes up for me because I don't drink. So, how you learnt to edit videos and what you use? Yeah,
just out of necessity. I basically just started with what I had at the time, and then sort of figured out what worked for me. I've tried PCs, I've tried Macs, I've tried different editing software, different camera gear, microphones, drones. I've had a crack at a few things. At the moment I'm using iMovie on a Mac. That's definitely been the easiest for me so far and the most time efficient. And GoPros, they're just versatile. They don't take the best footage, but they're just so simple.
And you've gotten a lot better with editing as you've just experienced, like as you've gone along.
Yeah.
It used to take you like a day to do a video. Now it takes you a couple of hours. So.
And my first ones were like, like narrating everything.
So it's like anything, you just get better as you're more exposed to it.
Yeah.
Are we having a great time?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Definitely. It's not every day is fantastic, and not every moment is like living the dream. It's still life. There's good days and bad days. There's arguments and
there's good weather. There's bad weather.
There's tantrums every now and then.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, absolutely living the dream. I want to do this forever if I could afford to and find a way.
Yeah, and traveling with kids. I mean, we've only got one, but for us it's been easier than we ever imagined.
Definitely.
I think kids are really adaptable. Chloe's been amazing. She's inside watching the iPad at the moment, but yeah, she's been great. She's great in the car. She sleeps well. She, very easily adaptable.
She's adapted better than us.
Yeah, loves the new adventures, loves seeing new things. So yeah, she's having the time of her life.
Look at it this way: we're halfway through this trip, and I'm already trying to plan for a year and a year on the road in the next 4 or 5 years. So I think that answers that.
Favorite place so far? I don't think I can really answer that. I've loved little bits and pieces of everywhere we've been. I loved Bungles. I loved Kununurra.
Yeah, Kununurra was impressive. Surprised me.
Yeah, I loved the Gib. Like all of the Gib, it was, every day was really good.
So sounds like Kimberley in general for you.
Yeah.
And I'd agree with that too. I do love the Pilbara coast as well. But yeah, I think for me, if it was one spot, it would be Pender Bay.
Yeah, Pender Bay was great.
Yeah.
I don't think I can say just one spot. Yeah.
No, not one's a standout for me either.
Nah. And on that note, your least favourite spot? I can name that one.
What's yours?
My least favourite spot was Palm Springs, just out the back of Halls Creek.
Oh, yeah.
There was just something about that place. It just had creepy vibes.
Yeah.
You?
Probably the same. Yeah, probably the same.
How have the border closures affected you, and how much sunscreen did you take? That was Pete's question.
Well, obviously the border closures have...
Yes, massively affected us.
Yeah. So in some ways, having 6 months to just do WA has been good, because it's meant that we've seen a lot more than we would have been able to.
Yeah, I sort of thought 6 months would be heaps of time to do all of Australia, but that's really not the case.
You can do it.
Yeah.
But you're just not going to see much.
No.
So I'm quite excited by the prospect of us having 6 months to do WA properly and really see our own backyard. And then the next trip for a year, see the rest of the country.
And the sunscreen?
Sunscreen. How much sunscreen have we gone through? Probably 2 litres?
Yeah, probably about 2 litres.
In 3 months?
Yeah.
I need a heap of sunscreen, eh? I'm so unlucky. Like, for someone who spends most of their time outside, I get smashed by the bugs. I get burnt in a full moon.
We have a great tan now, though.
You do, I don't. I'm just redder and fricklier.
What's the hardest part of about being around each other 24/7?
You answer that first.
Not that much really. No different to home. I think the biggest thing is the way we probably parent Chloe. Cam's probably more strict than I am with her. So that's probably what we bicker about most, is how we parent Chloe.
Yeah, I guess because when we've been at home, because I do shift work and Tiff works part-time normally, often we don't have a hell of a lot of time together with Chloe. Either I have her on my own or Tiff has her on her own. So yeah, that's been different. But like genuinely, I enjoy Tiff's company and enjoy hanging out with Tiff and Chloe. That's why I wanted to come around Australia with them. So we've had plenty of arguments. We bickered just before we started this video.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been good. Yeah. I want to spend more time with my family.
And we find normally, like, if one of us is in a grumpy mood, the other one generally isn't. So
yeah, and with Chloe as well. When one person's at the end of their rag with Chloe, the other one all of a sudden steps up and sorts it. So
yeah. And on that note, what we miss from home, what do I miss? I miss friends. I miss family. I do miss my home a little bit, like having the space, having a big couch and, a big kitchen. I miss shopping as well, as sad as that seems.
Wow, that is sad.
Like just being able to get in your car and go to the shops by yourself, and I don't know. I miss that stuff.
I miss a lot less. I'm quite happy to be on the road. I'd be a gypsy if I could. No offense to any gypsies.
So you don't miss anything?
I miss my mates. I do.
Yeah.
I definitely don't miss work.
Oh, one thing that you wish you had considered before setting out but didn't. I can't think of anything.
I wish I'd sorted out brewing on the road. Oh my god.
It's raining, chef.
We'd wedged a few things up in the awning to stop the flapping from the wind. I wish I'd sorted out brewing on the road and kegging, to been able to dispense from a kegerator from the back of the Canopy. And I wish I'd stripped some weight out of the car and redesigned a new Canopy before we left, because I just like everything to have its place, and everything's kind of got into the point where we just throw stuff in there now. We're a bit disorganised.
Yeah, the back of the car's a tip heap now.
Yeah, everything doesn't have a place, and that annoys me.
Yeah. If you were to upgrade size again, would we buy MDC again?
Oh, definitely. I don't think we're going to be able to, because in their current lineup of what they've got, there's nothing that really ticks every box I want. More in terms of a layout, isn't it?
Yeah. So we, whilst we're very happy with this, eventually we do want to upgrade to something bigger. We would like to have an internal kitchen, a separate shower and toilet, and 2 bunks. So that's our criteria. And
I want the bunks away from our bed.
Yeah. So MDC, they do I think it's an XT16.
And it's good, but the bunks are hard up against our bed.
Yeah, and if we're going to spend big money on a caravan, we want it to be perfect. So, but if they were to come up with a new model that ticked our boxes, we would definitely buy MDC again. No hesitation. They've been great.
I'd rather do that because I honestly have confidence in the brand now. At first we weren't too sure, but I've definitely got confidence in the brand. I'd have no problems buying another one.
Is there enough room in the van for our family? Yes, there is for our family. I think if you had 2 kids, you're pushing it a little bit, especially if you're going to live in it 24/7.
That's the point of difference, I reckon. Yeah. Something like this, even if you had 2 kids in it, for a week or 2 weeks a year, like for your annual big trip, and for weekenders and stuff, fine.
Yeah.
For the 3 of us to live in it on this trip, it's been a compromise, but it's been well worth it for for having that smaller van that we've got into some crazy little tight spots and we've been full driving with. It's been a compromise, but it's been a positive thing. But yeah, if you've got more than 1 child or an older child, or you want a bit more space, then yeah, you probably want something a bit bigger. It's been perfect for this trip for us.
Yeah, and then if you're a couple, they do like a 13 model, not the 13 plus. The 13 plus comes with the bed at the front. The 13 comes with just the
more storage.
Where the bed is, it's more storage and it's cupboards and whatnot. So that's probably a better solution if you're just a couple.
That 13 they do would be great if they cut in a sink and a stove inside.
Yeah.
So you could have inside kitchen, ensuite, and a king size bed in a 13-foot van.
Yeah. So do we wish we got a van with an internal kitchen? Sometimes, yes, especially when it's windy outside. In the morning, you want to make a coffee, but you've got to get dressed and come outside first.
The wind's been the major thing for us, but that's because we're on the west coast.
Yeah.
If you're over east, you might have issues with it being too cold or too rainy or wet to get out of your van.
Yeah, and we know a couple that are currently travelling full-time. They're in South Australia at the moment. They've got the same van as us, and they have a similar drama. They've had 50-kilometre winds and rain in South Australia, and they wish they had an inside kitchen as well.
But there was nothing. There is nothing 13-foot long with an internal ensuite, internal kitchen, king-size bed, and a bunk. So
it's all a compromise.
It was a compromise.
Could we retrofit a second bunk?
Definitely, and some clever people have done it and done a really good job of it. But like we said, for weekends and the annual trip, we do that. But if we're going to be doing another long trip, which we're planning to, we want a little bit more room if we've got 2 kids running around in there.
Yeah, and we also weren't sure if we really wanted a caravan. Coming from the forward fold, we loved that because it was so small, we can get it in anywhere. Now that we have this, we feel that we'd be more comfortable upgrading to something bigger.
Yeah, now we know we're caravan people.
Yeah, the cons for this van would you know, at times be the external kitchen.
Yeah. There is a longer setup. But
Yeah.
we're talking 10 minutes versus 5 minutes. It's
Yeah,
not...
so you've got to pop out the back and make the bed.
Yeah.
You've got to pop up the roof, but it's not a big deal. What are the other cons? The combined shower and toilet. It's not really a con, but if we were to upgrade or when we upgrade, I would get separate.
Yeah. Lack of storage for like food and like a pantry. It doesn't come with a decent sized pantry.
Yeah, but pros definitely is the size. We can tow this anywhere and not worry about
off-road ability. I reckon every day I tow this thing, at some point I say to Tiff, I love having a small van because like today we drove up to a lookout. There was a one-way road and it was a dirt road up the top, and we didn't know if there was much room to turn around, but I wasn't concerned. Yeah, off-road ability for sure has been really good. And it is built like a tank. It's pretty heavy for its size, but it's built like a tank. I have no dramas taking this. Anywhere the car would go, I'll take this thing.
Another pro is the size of the bed. That's actually a king, well, close to a king bed in our van. And I know a lot of vans have just doubles or queens. So we love having a big bed.
Yeah.
So how do we find the combined shower and toilet? What's your thoughts on the combined shower and toilet?
I reckon there's heaps of room. I reckon it's right. Heaps of room. I'm probably a smaller male model, but there's enough room to swing a cat.
I was going to say as well, I think it's completely different when you're living in a van versus if you're just going, on holidays and weekend trips every now and then. Because we're living in the van, like little things like having a combined shower and toilet annoy me, but
if you're flexible,
if we were just doing trips every now and then, it's probably not such a big deal. But yeah, it's because we're living in it. Like we also we bump each other around in here and complain about the lack of space, but it's because we're living in it. Like this is our home, so that's why we get the shits.
Plus, you kind of like it because you just always want to be on me, don't you?
Do we ever use the outside shower? Never.
No, I've used it a couple of times for filleting fish, and that's about it. It's not very good. Temp control's not great. Flow's not great. And then you'd be getting clean on the other side of the van, and then walking around, and you'd have dirty feet by the time you get in.
Is it worth jumping from a tent straight to a caravan, or is having a forward fold worth it? I think I don't know. It's a personal choice, I think.
Yeah. Hire some stuff. Hire both. Hire a forward fold and hire a caravan.
Yeah, I mean everyone likes something different, so
it's all a compromise. Towing a caravan is not as easy as towing a forward fold. Or there's something in between like these. Like they call this a hybrid, and it is a hybrid for a good reason. It's easier to tow than a full-size van.
Yeah.
But hire some stuff, see what's for you.
What is your monthly maintenance on the van? We don't have any.
None. The first, whenever you get like new wheels fitted or a new van or a new car or whatever, the first 100 Ks you should go over everything and check all the bolts are tight. The first 1,000 Ks, do it again. The first time you take it off road or corrugations, do it again. So I did that. I retorqued the wheel nuts. I climbed underneath a thing and with some spanners and some sockets, and I checked every nut I could get access to and made sure everything was tight and torqued up. Did it a couple of times, and no maintenance since then. One wheel bearing had a little bit of play in it. I could feel a little bit of play in it, so I pulled the hub off and tightened that. But other than that, nothing.
Right, now we've got lots of car questions. What vehicle mods would you recommend for a trip around Australia?
Depends where you're going, but I would say as a minimum, frontal protection like a bull bar or something, because the reality of an animal strike is it's a possibility. If you're driving at night, some spotlights, some driving lights, a UHF for comms on the road, decent tyres, either an all-terrain or a mud-terrain, probably an all-terrain unless you're doing a lot of off-road, for a multitude of reasons, but mainly just because they've got a thicker sidewall structure, so you're less likely to have blowouts and whatnot when they're deflated. And aftermarket suspension, some decent shock absorbers, and springs for your load carrying capabilities. That's probably it.
Are you happy with how the Dmax tows the van?
Oh, definitely tows like a dream. Look, I've modified the thing to make it do that, but yeah, it tows really well. No different to towing the forward fold camper, really, is it? I sit on 100 k's all day. I'm getting 17.5 litres per 100. My transmission temps and my engine temps are good.
We just get a little bit more worried if we're doing something really boggy because we're so heavy.
Yeah, 6 tonne combined weight, so anything that heavy doesn't go great in boggy sand.
How many Ks have you put on the GVM upgraded suspension? How's it faring?
Oh, shit, I don't know. How long have I had that? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, you got it pretty soon after you bought the car.
Yeah. I think 4 or 5 years, probably 4. And I've probably put 60, 70,000 Ks on it, 60,000, something like that. How's it faring? Look, if you upgrade your GVM on your car, you're going to have stiffer springs. So when it's unloaded, it's going to be a firmer ride and bumpier. But it's handling, like I said, we're at 6 tonne combined, so we're right on our GCM. And it handles all that weight through corrugations and whatnot. I've never had a shock failure. I haven't even replaced the bushes or anything on them. So it's not the most comfortable suspension, but it's handling it.
Did you upgrade the rear suspension to cope with the van, i.e. airbags?
So no, I've just got leaf springs that are capable of all the weight in the car, plus the weight of the tow ball from the van.
What advice can you give to first-time Canopy buyers? Do you recommend having a jack-off system?
No, because it's too hard to work out the spring rate. A Canopy fully loaded with gear can be like 600 kilos to a ton. And if you're springing that to be comfortable with all that weight on the vehicle, and then you want to be able to jack it off, leave it at home and drive the vehicle and it still be drivable with springs hard enough to handle all that weight, it's just going to be so uncomfortable. I think you're better off just having a bolt-on Canopy fitted out with everything you need.
But for first-time Canopy buyers, would you recommend Chinese import or?
I don't like to advise people to spend money when they don't need to, but Chinese Canopy is like I've had just such a bad experience with mine. I'll never risk it again. I'm sure maybe there are some imports that are better than others, but maybe they're not.
Best upgrade to the Dmax?
I'd say the performance stuff. It runs an aftermarket piggyback ECU, so it's an ECU shop is the brand. What is it? A Cube Junior Touch combo, I think it was. Anyway, it's about $2,000 of piggyback ECU and tuning, and it comes with selectable tunes. So it jumped up about 70% in power and torque. I did that probably about 2 years ago, you reckon? 2 or 3 years ago. And that's just made such a massive difference to the drivability. So yeah, it's got selectable tunes. So it's got a power tune that makes about 200 horsepower, 600 newton meters at the wheels. And then there's a tow tune which makes slightly less, but it's got lower combustion temps, so it's a bit safer for high temperatures, like up in the Kimberley, 40-degree days, towing 6 tonne combined. I could do that all day, and I have no reliability issues. So yeah, I reckon that's made the biggest difference.
The awning on your car.
Yeah, it's a 30-second awning. That's actually the brand. It's a 270-degree awning, freestanding up to about 30k winds, I think. Really good. How long have I had that? Maybe 2 years, something like that.
Yeah, maybe 3.
Yeah, that's been great. It's really good. I use it a lot more than the traditional just side roll out awnings because it's so much easier to set up, quicker, provides more shade. You can move, because it's freestanding, you can set it up, and if the sun moves and your shade's moved, you can actually drive the car with the awning still out.
Aussie stuff. I'll get out all the others. So we've got just your normal Bushmans. We've also got this Nature's Botanical. I don't know that it works all that well, but it smells good.
Yeah. Bushman's works really well. I don't know how good it is for your skin, though. It can't be good for you.
Yeah. Then we got the Thermacell.
The Thermacell, if you're not familiar with them, they use a little butane cartridge, screws into the base. You stick an insecticide-soaked pad underneath this shield here, and then you ignite the thing, and as it heats up that mat, it lets off like a vapor with the insecticide, and that's probably the most effective a way to get rid of mozzies. I don't know if it works on sand fleas or sandflies. I don't really know. The problem with the bloody sandflies is they bite you and you don't even know you're being bitten until the next day when you start itching. So yeah, if you're going down to the beach near mangroves and stuff, you're better off just putting a little bit of Bushman's on your legs before you go. And I'll tell you, because I've just figured it out myself, like I said, I get smashed by bugs. The sand flea or sandfly bites, the best way to stop them itching and get infected and stuff from the scratching is to get a cup of boiling water, dip a metal teaspoon in it, and then push the back of the teaspoon onto your bite so it's as hot as you can handle. You don't want to burn yourself, but as hot as you can handle. Or if you're in the shower, get the shower rose spray and water as hot as you can, handling your skin, and that'll stop you itching for to get you to sleep and stuff without scratching. Someone was asking about the way I light my fires. I've always used something like this. This was from Bunnings. Gasmate's the brand. It came in a kit, I think, with a can of butane and with the head. That'll fit any of your normal camping butane canisters, which you can get from anywhere. Just find that's a really easy way to start a campfire. There are different brands like Benzomatic and stuff do them for soldering and brazing and stuff. You'll see them in like the plumbing section or the camping section of Bunnings.
The tyres.
On the car?
Yeah. Or I don't know. Van or tyres. Yeah, car.
Righto, before I left, the car had Toyo all-terrain, what are they? Toyo Open Country AT2s, which are like a really highly rated tyre. They were rubbish. I bought 5 tyres new. Within 30,000 Ks, I'd had to replace 3 of them from blowouts. All of them had sidewall damage. They just got weak sidewalls on them. I actually contacted Toyo because I thought it must have been a batch issue. And I gave them all my details, my weights, because I'd weighed this thing. I knew exactly what my axle weights were and everything. Gave them my pressures, the conditions I'm driving in, and they said, oh, it's your fault because you're deflating them under 30 psi, which is ridiculous. You can't go off-road in boggy sand at 30 pounds. So anyway, before we left, I changed to some Wild Peak AT3Ws. They're an all-terrain as well. Similar sort of sidewall structure and stuff on paper, but I haven't had any leaky bead issues like I had with the Toyos. I haven't had any sidewall damage, no chipping. They're wearing really nicely and evenly. Yeah, they've been a really, really good tyre. I'll definitely go a set of these next, so very happy with them. On the van, those tyres are called a Good Ride. They're a Chinese import. They meet Australian standards. I wasn't too sure about them, but I thought I'd give them a go. Done 15,000 Ks, about a third of that off-road so far. They're wearing pretty well, other than an alignment issue I've got on one side. I think I've knocked it out of alignment. The van has been driven too quickly through some washouts and stuff, so I think I've knocked something out of adjustment because it only sort of started recently. But yeah, those tyres, I've had no flats, no punctures. They're wearing well. They seem to be fine as well.
Right, so that's it for question and answer type things. The rest of the questions were more to do with how the car and the van have fared, and just wanting a general overview of the canopy and all the stuff you've got in it. So that's probably going to be a separate video just because this has gone over so long. So separate video of car van update.
So yeah, thanks for asking us all those questions, guys. Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.